Welcome to Dodgers Dogs. As part of the Dodgers Daily Network, Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in. Getting off to a little bit of a slow start here, a little bit of a late start. Very busy time right now. Going to a game tonight, games, work, and all that kind of stuff. So trying to get a live show in here before we get out of town a little bit early today because I have later commitments tonight. But hey, going to be a fun show tonight. We're going to talk about, obviously exciting news with KirbyYates getting signed yesterday. Over the weekend, what a weekend it was for the Dodgers, signing TannerScott and RokiSasaki. So, wow, what a weekend, what a time to be a Dodger. So, wow. What we're going to do today, we're going to kind of have a little bit of fun. It's going to be a little bit lighter than some of the shows we've had as of late. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of back up to 2020, and we're going to talk about some of the free agents that the Dodgers have had a chance to sign, some of the free agents they haven't signed, some of the guys that maybe they could have, and how they have kind of gotten to where they're at building this dynasty. So, Christopher Navarro, CNAB, thank you so much for joining. I know we're coming on early, but again, I have commitments later tonight. So if I know we have a comment here from Mike Boyer. He keeps spinning around and around while I try to watch the latest news. I don't know what that means. And then we have another one, technical bloopers. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I went live like I did last night as far as having two strings. But again, what we're going to do tonight, we're going to back up and we're going to talk about how the Dodgers got to the dynasty they've created. I'm actually opening up my YouTube right now just to make sure that there's not another one like we had last night that, okay, we're good. So, all right, so let's get to what we're going to talk about. And again, signing KirbyYates was super fun. That was obviously very exciting, but that's just the latest of some of the great signings the Dodgers have had. So let's back all the way up. The Dodgers win the World Series in 2020, right? Which was super fun. Of course, there's a lot of people, Alex Verdugo, who made the last out, by the way, like to claim that it was not a real championship because it was only partial season or whatever. Baloney on that. The Dodgers played by the same rules as everybody else. So after the 2020 and the 2020-2021 free agents, you had Max Scherzer, Corey Seager. This was after the 2021 season, right? Max Scherzer, Corey Seager here. Chris Taylor, the Dodgers re-signed. The Dodgers re-signed Clayton Kershaw. Joe Kelly actually went to the Red Sox, came back to the Dodgers. I remember getting to see Steven Souza Jr. many different times in AAA Oklahoma City. That was a lot of fun. He was a good player. And if you remember, he actually spent some time up with the Dodgers. Jimmy Nelson, who, lots of respect, kind of the Daniel Hudson train to where he just spent a lot of time in Oklahoma City, just couldn't get healthy, just continued to try to fight it. And then obviously Kenley Jansen, the Dodgers lost him. He went to the Braves. Danny Duffy, who came back to the system a little bit later. And actually, the Dodgers re-signed him. He's really fluttered around. Albert Pujols and Cole Hamels. So they're your 2021 after the 2021 season free agents. So I would say the big ones there obviously are Max Scherzer and Corey Seager. Obviously, the Dodgers re-signed Chris Taylor and Clayton Kershaw. We don't need to talk about them. Corey Knebel, I got to see him quite a bit in Oklahoma City. He was really dynamite, had just a really dynamite right arm there. So Clayton Kershaw, again, re-signed. Jimmy Nelson came back. So should the Dodgers have signed anybody on this list that they didn't? Well, here's Max Scherzer, okay? The year after the Dodgers did not sign him, his ERA right here as you go down his line, you can see that in 145.1 innings, he had a 2.29 ERA. So no doubt about it. The Dodgers definitely missed Max Scherzer after that season, but it was going to be a long contract. And when you look at what happened since, 4.01 ERA, and then last year he only threw 53 innings. So for the Dodgers to get Max Scherzer, they were going to have to sign him to a fairly long contract, and it probably was not going to be of much benefit to the Dodgers at that point. I think we know that the plight of Cody Bellinger and where he stands with the Cubs. Obviously had a really good season. So how about 2022, 2023? Trey Turner, Tyler Anderson. I know a lot of people wanted Tyler Anderson back. Andrew Heaney had a good year. Justin Turner was one of those guys that people wanted back. Chris Martin was a a young man who came to the Dodgers. I believe the Dodgers picked him up on a waiver wire. Maybe it was a trade, but it wasn't really high profile. Did a good job for the Dodgers. And then Tommy Kahnle, you remember that big changeup he had. Joey Gallo, the Dodgers tried to take a flyer on him to see if they could get him fixed. Craig Kimbrell, there's Jimmy Nelson again. And Edwin Rios, remember him. He actually got to play in the World Series. And I think he replaced Justin Turner there in 2020. But Edwin Rios, remember he had all that power. Kevin Pillar, who had the sweet feet. There's that Danny Duffy again. And David Price. So I think Justin Turner is the guy there that I know I clamored at the time, hey, bring back Justin Turner. Let's see what he can do. And really, to be honest with you, I think he would have signed a very team-friendly deal. And last year, he answered the best closer. Yeah. Last year, he hit 259. He had an OPS of 737. I would say, though, and I love Justin Turner, I would take Max Muncy and his WRC plus and the way that he hits home runs and the way that he drives in runs. You look at RBIs last year for Justin Turner, he had, as far as RBIs goes, let me get to that column right there, 55 RBIs. Of course, the year before he had 96. But if you look at the OPS numbers, Max Muncy will lap that. Max Muncy will lap the home runs. Max Muncy will lap the RBIs. So as far as what the Dodgers need, they have the great hitters in FreddieFreeman, in Mookie Betts, in ShoheiOhtani. And so they already have a lot of great hitters. Now they have Tommy Edman, who's kind of a one of those just kind of baseball player dudes. Will Smith, at times, is a really, really good hitter as far as for average. So they can afford to have a Max Muncy type guy in their lineup. So I have no problems trading Max Muncy at third base for Justin Turner. I hope Justin Turner, to be honest with you, comes back and is a manager someday for the Dodgers. No doubt about it. Cody Bellinger, 266 last year, OPS 751. So I know Dodgers fans have been clamoring. Of course, the year after he left Los Angeles, he hit 307 and his OPS was 881. So I think there's no doubt that a change of scenery was good for Cody Bellinger, and it kind of gave him a little bit of a spark. But having said that, I mean, you're going back into right around 260, OPS of 751, and which isn't great. 89 strikeouts, 18 home runs. So really, when you look at even what James Outman did, James Outman had a good year that year as well. I mean, James Outman was a 4-WAR player. He came in second in the Rookie of the Year. So you really didn't miss a whole lot in 2023. 2024, it wasn't like Cody Bellinger was just awesome or off the charts or anything. And remember, now you have Tommy Edman. So I think if Mookie Betts plays shortstop, Ha-Seong Kim or whoever it might be, plays second base, and Tommy Edman, or maybe the Dodgers still go out and get a center fielder, or maybe they go get a shortstop and then Tommy Edman's your everyday center fielder. So if Tommy Edman's your everyday center fielder, or even I think if you platoon Andy Pages and James Outman, I have no problems with Cody Bellinger with that versus a Cody Bellinger who, to be honest with you, I just don't think it was working with the Dodgers. I think that change of scenery was good for him. And then Trey Turner was a big loss. The Dodgers, this is the one that kind of still sticks with me because this is the one that really I don't think the Dodgers have fixed yet. This is a situation to where Trey Turner was a really good shortstop. He was a guy that could hit for average. He was a guy that could also hit some home runs. We see 21 home runs last year, 26 with Philadelphia the year before. High batting average, 295 last year, 298 with the Dodgers. He's a guy that we know that is very fast. He can steal some bases, 19 stolen bases last year, 49 stolen bases in the last 2 years for Trey Turner. So I don't think there's any doubt about it. The Dodgers missed Trey Turner. Having said that, they won the World Series last year. So there's really nothing to complain about. But kind of what I'm going through is the decisions the Dodgers have had to make so far. I think the Dodgers have made the correct decision. All the guys we talked about to this point. Although I think Trey Turner definitely is missed by the Dodgers, I don't think they had a chance on him. He is a guy that wanted to go back to the East Coast. He wanted to go to Philadelphia. He did not want to play in Los Angeles. And so because of that, yes, I wish the Dodgers probably still had Trey Turner, but I don't think that was a possibility. So I don't even think that was in the hands of the Dodgers organization. So how about Tyler Anderson? I know a lot of people were like, why didn't we re-sign Tyler Anderson, right? Because you remember he had that really good year and the really good playoff performance. I'm still crying about Dave taking him out. You guys know I love Dave Roberts. You know, I think he's just a wonderful manager. I think he does a terrific job, but I was very much so against him taking Tyler Anderson out in that playoff appearance in 2022 for the Dodgers. Of course, he signed a big contract. The Dodgers didn't want to sign him to anything long, and since then, he has been with the Angels. And if you look at how he has done with the Angels, the year after he left the Dodgers, his ERA ballooned all the way up to 5.43. His batting average against was 2.66. His whip was 1.49. His whip last year was 1.29, which isn't great. His ERA went down to 3.81, but yeah, whatever. I mean, Tyler Anderson is not a guy to me that the Dodgers have missed. Plus, they were going to have to sign him to a contract that they did not like, that they thought he would probably underperform in. And I think he probably has underperformed what the Dodgers would have signed him for. So, and when you look at all these guys, okay, Tyler Anderson, I think the Dodgers made the correct decision. Trey Turner, I don't think they even had an option there. Cody Bellinger, I personally am one that thinks it was mutually beneficial for the parting ways of the two ways between the two. Justin Turner, I at the time wanted the Dodgers to keep Justin Turner. I am just fine with Max Muncy at third base and his contributions. Max Scherzer, there's no way that you could have convinced me, especially after the way he kind of complained about the way the Dodgers used him, that the Dodgers should have kept him. So I think the Dodgers have either made the correct decision on all the big free agents and or they just haven't had the choice like Trey Turner. So while they've made the right decisions on the guys that they've had that have become free agents that they've had in the system, at the same time, 2020 they go get Mookie Betts. 2022 they go get FreddieFreeman. Okay, if you remember 2023, it was a very slow off season. You got guys like Noah Syndergaard, stuff like that. Nothing that was a big deal. And they were waiting for the 2023-2024 offseason. In the 2023-2024 offseason last year, ShoheiOhtani, Tyler Glasnow, YoshinobuYamamoto, Teo, re-signed Clayton Kershaw, signed Jason Hayward, re-signed Joe Kelly, James Paxton, who the Dodgers DFA'd, got at least a player back for. Ryan Brazier, re-signed him. He was huge in that bullpen game. We know how huge Kike Hernandez was. Okay, so yes, ShoheiOhtani was a huge pickup, no doubt. Yes, Tyler Glasnow was big. Yes, Yamamoto was big. But really the two signings that were huge were Kike and Teo. And then without Ryan Brazier, who starts that bullpen game? And whoever starts that bullpen game, if they don't get off to the great start, the first inning that Ryan Brazier, the Dodgers got off to, who knows what happens? Right? So we now know that Andrew Friedman, we've said this many times, does not want to use the trade deadline. But even with that, Jack Flaherty, Tommy Edman, Michael Kopech. Wow, what a trade deadline. And then in this offseason, they've went and got TannerScott, RokiSasaki, Michael Conforto, Teo Hernandez, Ha-Seong Kim, Blake Snell, Blake Trinan, and now KirbyYates. So that leaves you with the rotation, the bullpen, the pitching depth, and the 26-man rotation, okay, which that puts you at 15. We're not going to get in extensively about what that does to the roster. But having said all that, okay, what I wanted to point out, the next point that I want to make here, this is your pitching depth, okay? Ben Kasparius, Jack Dreyer, Michael Grove, Edgardo Henriquez, Landon Knack, Bobby Miller, Justin Robleski. Then on the offensive side, you have Andy Pages, you have James Outman, you've got Dalton Rushing, you've got Alex Freeland, you've got all these guys that need opportunity. So with all of this amazing roster the Dodgers have built, the one thing that I kind of frustrates me, of course, I want to preface this by saying winning the World Series is absolutely the number one goal don't want to take anything away from the total excitement about the just incredible roster the Dodgers have built. But I will say the glut of pitching that the Dodgers have amassed, and then I know, hey, man, you never can have too much pitching because as we've seen in this organization, these pitchers get hurt, and they get hurt quite a bit. So having said that, building a dynasty, one thing that really kind of is a little bit frustrating for me is that when you look at these guys, and I'm going to click back over there, Ben Kasparius, Jack Dreyer, Michael Grove, Edgardo Henriquez, Landon Knack, Bobby Miller, Jared Karros, Jackson Ferris, Peter Hubeck, eventually Peyton Martin, all these guys, okay? How are they going to get major league innings, right? And kind of my point is that these guys at least deserve a chance to have a major league career, in my opinion. I mean, they at least deserve to have the ability to go show at the major league level what they are capable of. And as of right now, when you look at the rotation, the 26-man pitching rotation, the 26-man roster, as far as the pitchers go, you have 15 pitchers on that if everybody's healthy. Now, and you have not, and that does not include Clayton Kershaw, so he would be 16, right? And so and then Ohtani's not going to be immediately that 14th pitcher, so right off the bat, you're only going to have 13 spots. So my rant here is, where in the world has Ben Kasparius, Jack Dreyer, Edgardo Henriquez, Landon Knack, Bobby Miller, Justin Robleski? Where are they going to get an opportunity, right? What is their role, okay? As of right now, there's not even enough spots on the 26-man roster to get all of your major league guys. Let me click back over. There's not even enough roster spots to get all of these guys on your roster right now, plus add Clayton Kershaw. So having said that, what has Ben Kasparius, Jack Dreyer, Michael Grove, Edgardo Henriquez, Landon Knack, Bobby Miller, Jackson Ferris, Jared Karros, all of these guys, what is their opportunity? Where are they going to even, as it sits right now, these guys right here literally have zero role in this organization at the major league level this year. And the only plan for them is that somebody will get injured, somebody will go on the injured list, there will be opportunity. So you're talking about 7 guys right here, Jared Karros 8, Jackson Ferris 9 guys that are pretty immediate as far as needing major league innings, right? I mean, Justin Robleski, major league experience. Bobby Miller, major league experience. Landon Knack, World Series experience. Michael Grove, playoff experience. Ben Kasparius, World Series experience. So you're talking about guys that need, at this point, for them to continue to develop, they need to hit the major leagues, get in the major leagues, figure out what adjustments they have to make at the major league level. And as it sits right now, there will be absolutely no opportunity whatsoever for them. So we'll see how they handle the IL, but I think that's probably pretty obvious that is their plan right there as far as how they're going to get all these guys involved. But having said that, how are you going to trim it from, and I'm going to push this back one more time, how are you going to trim it from 16 once you add Clayton Kershaw? Of course, he's going to go on the 60-day IL, all the way down to 7, 8, or 9 guys getting the quality experience that they need. So the one blind spot in this organization that I just have a really hard time getting on board with, I just never will get on board with it, is saying all of your young guys will never have the opportunity ever to be in your starting rotation and be one of the guys that you give a spot in your rotation. Now, having said, I'm going to say it again, that I understand that is just the price of doing business to have a win now mentality. And I would not trade that win now mentality, not for anything. But kind of my rant here is I just really wish they would go the trade route. So a guy like Ben Kasparius, a guy like Landon Knack, a guy like Justin Robleski would be like with the Cincinnati Reds or or whoever it may be, and then the Dodgers can go back and get the major league ready type of players and pitchers and whoever it may be, so in return for them. So it would be a win-win situation where I think that people have a legitimate argument with this. Of course, the people saying this is bad for baseball, that I don't buy that whatsoever. I mean, the Dodgers I've said it many different times, they've been smarter than everybody else. They've done very well on the margins, so they deserve what they've gotten. Now, yes, do they have substantially more firepower financially than pretty much everybody else except for the Yankees? Yes, but having said that, they still have been smarter. So they are absolutely not whatsoever running baseball. That I just will never go there. But I will say, I do think at some point that Major League Baseball needs to do something about, in my opinion, about the Dodgers being able to build the roster they have while compiling such talent that guys like Ben Kasparius, Jack Dreyer, Michael Grove, Edgardo Henriquez, Landon Knack, Bobby Miller, Justin Robleski have no shot. I don't think a club should be able to build the roster the Dodgers have and then still also be able to just stockpile these guys that never get a chance. Now, on top of that, okay, you're also going to get back Emmett Sheehan. You're also going to get back Kyle Hurt. You're also going to get back Gavin Stone. You're also going to get back Nick Frasso, okay? So this stockpile of pitching is just going to continue to grow, right? And when you look on here, Glasnow is going to be here for another 4 years. Ohtani, 9 years. Yamamoto, however long his contract is, a long time. RokiSasaki, a long time. Blake Snell, I think it was, 5 years, right? So not only have the Dodgers signed a starting rotation that is going to completely shut out all of these guys, they've done it for many years to come. So again, kind of what I'm saying, I'll say it one more time, and I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me, and I'm kind of ranting here. I do think that Major League Baseball needs to make it to where a team like the Dodgers, who go out and get every free agent like they do, they can't just stockpile their prospects and just make it to where they have to stay in AAA, because once you sign as a minor leaguer, you have to be in minor league baseball for 6 years. So if you sign before you become a free agent, so if you sign, say, out of college, you're 29, 30 years old before you ever have the option or the choice to not be with the organization that is stockpiling you, that is making you depth due to nothing that you have done on your own volition. So like, kind of what I'm trying to say is Landon Knack, Edgardo Henriquez. Now, you might make the case for Michael Grove that he's had opportunities. But Justin Robleski, they haven't even had enough opportunities to be able to even prove what they're capable of doing at the major league level. I mean, if you go back and even look as great as Clayton Kershaw is, go back and look at some of his early outings and some of his early lack of success. It takes a minute. It's never been harder to make the adjustment to Major League Baseball. It takes a minute to make the adjustment from AAA to Major League. So if these guys are just bobbing and weaving in, and that's what they've done in the last couple of years, but now not even having the bobbing and weaving type of opportunity, I don't know what the solution is. I've got some crazy ideas. So like with the competitive balance tax, instead of charging somebody like the Dodgers money, like they're having to pay 110% on all the contracts they're signing, force them to have to trade for every $1 million or whatever they go to the CBT, you lose somebody in your farm system, something like that. I don't know. But I will say, I do think that needs to be fixed. I don't think it should be a situation to where an organization like the Dodgers can build a roster that has Tyler Glasnow, YoshinobuYamamoto, Sasaki, Snell, Gonsolin, and all these guys, and then still keep all of their minor leaguers to where they don't have a chance. So, hey, that's kind of my little rant right there. That is kind of off topic. That I just kind of wanted to get that off my chest. So then, yeah, Chris Martin did a really good job, Mr. Classic. No doubt. Justin Turner, Mr. Classic, is saying is currently a free agent waiting for a team to sign him. Cody's going back to his papa's team. Yeah. Hey, and Takata DJ, they ain't letting anyone pitch a whole season, revolving door on the Phantom IL. I understand that, but you have like 7 or 8 guys. So I get that if it's like 1 or 2 guys that you're wanting to revolve back and forth. Like it would say if it was just Bobby Miller and 1 other guy. Okay, I understand that. But it's 8 guys that need major league experience. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to see Ben Kasparius, Jack Dreyer, Michael Grove, Edgardo Henriquez, Landon Knack, Bobby Miller, Justin Robleski, Jared Karros, Jackson Ferris. That's 8 guys right there. It's very difficult to see more than 1 or 2 of those guys getting any kind of significant major league time this year, just from a numbers crunch. And so that's kind of, I don't know. I don't know how to solve that problem. It's a great problem to have from an organization's perspective, obviously, because you have depth over depth and you just have one guy after the other. And if this guy gets injured, you bring in the other guy. But it's a terrible situation from a personal perspective, watching these guys age into their late 20s and never be given a chance. So I kind of wanted to bring that up just to bring the personal side of the cost of this, because there really has been no, I mean, anytime you win the World Series, we talk a lot here on Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network about opportunity cost. And when we say opportunity cost, we mean like every time you go get a Joey Gallo or a David Peralta or a Jason Hayward, the cost isn't in dollars and cents to the Dodgers. The cost is lost at bats or lost innings for their minor leaguers, right? But when you win the World Series, there absolutely is no opportunity cost, because the only goal that there is to win the World Series. So everything is worth it whenever you win the World Series. And so from that perspective, that's just the bottom line. But I'm with Jay right here. I like TannerScott. I like KirbyYates. I like RokiSasaki. I like Blake Snell. I am super excited the Dodgers got them, but I just wish they would have done it in trade. I wish they would have traded this, at least half this glut of pitching. That opens the door for the younger pitchers to come up. You know, so a guy like that was in high A Great Lakes last year that maybe finished in Double A, like a Jackson Ferris. He needs to be the one that, if you have a massive amount of injuries like Justin Robleski was last year, that is your fallback plan. A guy like Landon Knack needs to have a clear, at this point, to me, Bobby Miller, Landon Knack, even Ben Kasparius, Edgardo Henriquez, who has some of the best stuff. Now, I'm not going to say execution, but stuff. Those guys need to have a clear and defined path as far as what their future is, what their role is, what is their opportunity going to be to have their major league career. Because I think people just assume, hey, it's millionaires versus billionaires, right? It's billionaire owners and then it's millionaire players. Not these guys, okay? I mean, these guys aren't the millionaires. The guys that are the millionaires are the YoshinobuYamamotos, the ShoheiOhtanis, the Tyler Glasnows, the Clayton Kershaws. I promise you, the Justin Robleskis, the Landon Knacks, the Jack Dryers, who signed as an undrafted free agent, the Ben Kaspariuses, I promise you they are not the millionaires. Now, some of them did sign a signing bonus that helped things out. And so I say that only to say, man, if they're going to, being a minor, sometimes these guys only have that's why I'm always on the player side to go get as much money as they can, because sometimes there's only one opportunity a player gets to sign that huge contract. And they are signing something that is going to be life-changing. So if you take these guys and you make them 28, 29, 27, 28, 29, sometimes even 30 years old, and they have basically no major league track experience, and then like James Outman and Andy Pye has next year, they have no minor league options left, you've screwed their whole career. I mean, you've made it to where they've been making pennies on the dollars being a minor league player forever. Hey, it is a tough life as a minor leaguer And now I'm not saying feel sorry for them. That's not my point here. But it's not very much money. I'll bet it's a substantial amount of money than most of us that are watching this show right now. I'll bet most of these minor leaguers are making a substantial amount of money less than most of us watching this show are, okay? So if you make somebody a career minor leaguer, don't ever, so where it gets lucrative is whenever you make your minor league salary, which will be about $30,000, $40,000, maybe $50,000 a year, right? And then if you can get that $2,000 a day or whatever it is, the mid-league minimum for 30 days even in the show, right? So that's $60,000 on top of your $50,000. Now keep in mind, okay, that's only for a 7 or 8 year window, and then when they end, you're leaving into a world with no career built up. I guess you could go into coaching, I suppose, but it's not like you're working your way up a organization as far as, like you're not working from lower positions up to the top position in a company, right? And so you get guys like this that have made $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, and then you never give them that chance to show what they can do at the major league level, to sign that one contract that can make their whole 10-year career actually fairly lucrative. I mean, let's take a school teacher who makes, say, $45,000 a year. So over a 10-year span, they're going to make $450,000, okay? Well, you take a minor leaguer who's making $30,000 a year, okay, and you make them a career minor leaguer, and then you don't give them the chance to become that major leaguer, then they're in a situation to where it's very difficult for these guys to, at some point, really, I mean, it's just not a lot of money. And so I'm going on a long rant to say these guys either need to have the chance to make the major leagues with the organization they're in, or they need to be moved to an organization that gives them the chance to not be stuck in that mediocrity of salary, really not even mediocrity, the terrible low end of the salary, or they need to at least have the opportunity to go out and make their career from a financial perspective something that was worth doing, right? I mean, so can you imagine, I guess it's the way the rules are, but first 6 years of your working career, you have no choice, because if you want to do something, you have to sign with a organization that doesn't have to promote you. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to give you a raise. They don't have to do any of that. And you have no choice. You can't even go to a different organization, because those are the rules of the league you're in or whatever, right? So that's just kind of frustrating for me. I know I'm going off on a rant here as far as this goes, but let's get back to it's not money, it's the owner's money. Yeah, as much as we try to keep it equal with TV monies, it makes the ratings very bad. So yeah, that's kind of a rant. Most ball players never hit a big note. They absolutely don't. And most ball players, even the ones that make the major leagues, they're going to average like 1 year. So even their major league earnings aren't going to be a whole lot. So let's say that you actually do make the major leagues and you hit the average service time, which is like a little over a year, and you make the league minimum there. Even over, and let's say that you go through the minor leagues for let's say you're playing professional baseball for 10 years, okay? Over that 10-year span, you've probably made a little over $1 million, okay? You've made just about exactly twice what a school teacher would make, right? I don't know how much school teachers make in California. They might make more than that. But over a 10-year span, $1 million isn't an incredible amount of money. And that's a guy who actually made the major leagues, right? So I don't know. I have a hard time getting on board with the system the way it is right now, to where the Dodgers can go out and buy all these free agents, which that's great. But, and then also keep all these guys from being able to have a chance. Again, a chance. If they go up to the major leagues, you give them the proper amount of run, you give them the chance and all that, and they just don't perform, that's on them, right? I mean, last year, offensively to an extent. James, that was on for James Alvin. That was on him, right? Hey, CNAB 100 plus in the chat. Please hit the like button. No doubt about it. So I hope I'm not turning everybody off with this conversation. But I'll tell you what, we have talked so much about this wonderful offseason. We've talked so much about the roster. I did kind of want to get that off my chest, and I'm using today, I guess, as kind of a platform to do that with. So I hope you stick with me on that rant. Let me get back to some of the comments here. We have a wonderful lobby logged in. Mr. Classic says, I foresee injuries again, unfortunately. Mike Boyer, the Dawgs comment was awesome timing. Yeah, no doubt about it. It certainly was. Hey, Mr. Classic, so those prospects going to be pitching, yes. And then also on the position player side, you got Alex Freeland, you got Dalton Rushing. So if you go get Kike Hernandez, okay, let me put this up on the board just to kind of further what I'm saying. If you add Kike Hernandez to this, that leaves one spot open for all these guys. And then you still need to get to Dalton Rushing. You still need to get to Alex Freeland. Ryan Ward, you need to just do him a favor and let him go somewhere else. Cody Hosey, you need to do him a favor and let him go somewhere else, right? I mean, there's obviously no plans whatsoever, and I'm not saying the Dodgers are making the wrong decision there. That's not what I'm saying. But there's obviously no plans for those guys, like Drew Avens. He just timed out, right? I mean, Drew Avens just spent his time in Oklahoma City, became maybe the greatest Oklahoma City baseball player of all time, which is a dubious distinction because that means you never made the major leagues, right? And then he timed out and became a free agent, and now he's with the A's. That's likely what's going to happen with Cody Hosey. And I love Cody Hosey, and I hope if his parents are watching or if he's watching, I don't mean that in a negative vein. I mean that from a truthful perspective. Ryan Ward, it looks to me like they have no intentions of ever putting him on the 40-man roster. No matter what he does, no matter how good he hits, no matter what Team USA team he plays for and kills it, the Dodgers are going to jump him. They're going to jump him with Andy Pages. They're going to jump him with Michael Conforto, with Teo Hernandez. And again, I'm not saying that's the wrong decision. I'm saying that is the decision. And because that's the decision, and now because Ryan Ward's going to continue to get jumped, why is he still in the system? Let him go somewhere else. Trade him for a draft pick or some kind of prospect that you can start over at the single A level. Because here's the deal. Your major league roster, I just went over all the pitching contracts, right? I mean, they're like 4 and 5 years. I mean, just look at them right here. Look at these pitching contracts. Glasnow, Ohtani, Yamamoto, Sasaki, Snell, Gonsolin, May. I think May's in the last couple of years. But having said that, these guys are going to be here forever, okay? They're going to be here for a while. So not only is there no positions available at the major league level, there's not going to be very many at all. Plus, we know as spots open up, like you're going to say, well, Brazier won't be around. Well, Chris Taylor's coming off the books. We don't know how long. Blake Trining's just a couple of years. KirbyYates is 38 years old. So they're not going to be really long, right? Fine. But we know the Dodgers is going to go out and get more major leaguers to jump these guys. So kind of my point is, once you do that, once you go get a Michael Conforto, right, then Ryan Ward needs to be with the Boston Red Sox or somewhere else. And you need to go get a player that doesn't need to be a major leaguer for another 3 or 4, maybe 5 years when some of these contracts, like the Teo Hernandez contract, times out, right? Or whatever contract it may be. So that's kind of where I'm at there. That's it. CNAV is saying here, I get it, Casey. It's going to be tough for it to be a prospect in the high minors within the Dodgers organization. They're blocked. Yeah, and this is high stakes, man. Just go back to my Griffin Lockwood Powell conversation. This is high stakes, man. This is the difference between having a career that ends up being lucrative enough to make it worth it, and having a career that made less than a teacher and you leave with nothing other than maybe becoming a coach, right? Hey, see now, San Francisco isn't going to do anything but complain. They're not a poor franchise and have a fan base. Posey is dropping the ball. $725,000 is a lot. However, San Diego has a payroll deduction problem. Hey, ask Brazier to trade for Cease. Yeah, I don't think that would be a straight up trade there. Hey, Josh Cavalier, trade some of these guys. Would rather have good or great players instead of guys you're not sure what they're going to give you. That's my point, Josh. I'm not saying that the win now mentality, I'm enjoying it because I'm enjoying the fact that Dodgers are going to have a dynasty. I'm saying if you're in win now, then move all the guys that aren't involved in your win now process as that goes. So, hey, Mr. Classic, as much as we try to keep it equal with TV monies, it makes the ratings bad. Yeah. Hey, Ela Shiva says most ball players will never hit it big. I totally agree with that. Hey, Crenshaw Grinder says, I think Ohtani may not pitch until the summer. Hey, that's going to do it for me today. Again, I got to get to a basketball game tonight. I know I kind of ran it, but I wanted to get to that, and I wanted to get to all that. It has been a great crowd. I know I went on early. Wanted to hit a show tonight, wanted to get to it, wanted to talk about a few things. So, hey, I really appreciate everybody tuning in. And until Friday night, Austin will be back. Austin's fixing his car tonight. He wanted to say thank you for everybody that donated to his car cause the other night. He's actually getting all that fixed right now. That's why he is not available. So, hey, we'll get back more into the roster talk. We'll get into all the fun stuff, all the new guys, all the bells and whistles. We'll get back into all of that Friday night. So make sure and tune in to the Dodgers Dogs on Friday night. We'll have a lot of fun. So until then, I want to thank you and